Amma ba'd. Respected elders, brothers, friends, Alhamdulillah, by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one roza is completed and two tarawih is completed. Second tarawih is normally, I'm going to go by the 1.25 juz because that's what's mostly recited. Yesterday, we went over brief tafsir of the first half of Surah Baqarah. Today, we are going to talk a little bit about the second half of Surah Baqarah. It starts from لَيْسَ الْبِرَّ أَن تُوَلُّوا وُجُوهَكُمْ قِبَلَ الْمَشْرِقِ وَالْمَغْرِبِ. It is not of virtue whether you turn your faces towards the east or the west. However, virtue is having belief in Allah and in final day and in angels and in a person who gives his wealth in spite of its love to the relatives, the orphans, the needy, the travelers, and the beggars, and in freeing slaves. And virtue is of that person who establishes salah, gives zakah, and fulfills the contract when they make an agreement, and those who are patient in hardship and in difficulties, and at the time of warfare, they are the truthful ones and they are the God-fearing. Now ponder over this verse. This verse is Jami' Mane. It's got the whole deen in it. It's got all the aqaid, because you have to believe in the things which are mentioned. And it's got the huququl ibad of spending on the relatives, etc. And it's got the huququllah of salat, zakat, and fulfilling all agreements, the ones which are made with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like Allah said to Bani Israel, وَأَوْفُوا بِعَهْدِي أُوفِ بِعَهْدِكُمْ. You fulfill my agreement and I will fulfill your agreement which I made and my promise which I made to you. So similar is the case over here. Sabirin, sabr includes fasting as well. Because in fasting, there is a lot of patience and sabr. Especially for the smokers. You have to do a lot of sabr. So maybe you can survive hunger and thirst, but surviving the smoke and cigarette, oh, that's the tough one. Some people open their fast with cigarette, not with khajur. So much they are in love with cigarette. So, sabr, you have to be patient in fasting. So everything is included in this verse. Now, this is the opening verse, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions some ahkam, furu'i, masail. Allah first of all mentions qisas. Qisas means taking revenge or retaliation. Now remember, Islam is fair and just. Islam did not say turn the other cheek. Otherwise, our Afghan Pathan brothers might have a hard time if someone hit them and you tell them to turn the other cheek. No way. They'll take the Kalashnikov and shoot. So, they would have different. Islam would not be for them. And if Islam made retaliation farz and wajib, then those who are bichara soft, they might not be able to practice on this wajib. So Islam kept it open. Islam said you can take revenge and retaliate if you want to, and you can forgive if you want to as well. It's up to you, your discretion. However, forgiving is more rewarding. And this is why the hadith said, don't just turn the other cheek, be kind to the other person. Give him dawat and feed him biryani. Silman qata'ak wa'fu amman zalamak. And then wa'ahsin ila man asa'a ilay. So pardon, forgive, and also be nice and kind to those who are bad and ill-treating you. So, Allah Pak has allowed retaliation over here, especially with regards to al-qatla. When someone is murdered, then life for life, free for free, slave for slave, and female for female. Whoever commits the murder will have to be killed in retaliation. And then if the brother forgives, then okay, let's say he takes blood money, then the blood money should be given properly, and it should be asked of him in a proper manner, reasonable manner. And in there, meaning in qisas and retaliation, is takhfif from your Rabb and mercy, lightening. Allah Pak has lightened things upon you through the ahkam of qisas. So be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah said in qisas there is life. Because when qisas is taken, then crime rate, murder rate goes down. When there is no qisas, then the crime rate, murder rate goes up. The jails are full with those who are jailed for life. And the taxpayer has to pay for them. Our Hafiz Ahmad Sahab once was going with this to Darul Uloom with this barrister Sahab, and they started talking on this subject. So Hafiz Ahmad Sahab said, बैरिस्टर साहब बताओ आपका कानून अच्छा कि हमारा अच्छा? आप तो कहते हैं कोई मेरे बाप को कत्ल कर दे तो मैं ही उसको खिलाऊं पिलाऊं, क्योंकि वो जेल में जाए तो मैं काम करके टैक्स भरता हूं और टैक्स पेयर के पैसे से वो खाता पीता है, तो उसने मेरे बाप को मारा और मैं ही उसको खिला पिला रहा हूं. और हमारा कानून कहता है, अल्लाह का कानून, कि वो जब इकरार कर ले, पकड़ा जाए, तो 3 में से एक ऑप्शन है हमारे पास. या तो हम भी उसको किसास में कत्ल कर दें, अगर हम वेल ऑफ हैं, मालदार हैं हम लोग भी, तो हम उसको किसास में कत्ल कर सकते हैं. अगर हमको बहुत तकलीफ हुई है, उसने कसदन व इरादतन डिलिबरेटली प्लानिंग के तहत जो है बहुत ज़्यादा धोखा देकर ट्रिक करके किया था, तो हम भी उसको करें, किसास कत्ल करें. और अगर ऐसा नहीं है, हम लोग मिस्कीन हैं, मुहताज हैं और पैसों की ज़रूरत है, हमारे भाई बहन छोटे छोटे हैं, हमारे बाप के ऊपर हम सर्वाइव करते थे, अब बाप मर गया तो हम कैसे सर्वाइव होंगे? तो कुछ मुद्दत के लिए, सर्वाइवल के लिए हमको दियत दे दी जाए, 100 ऊँट दियत में मिले, तो उसकी जो पैसे आएंगे तो उससे वी कैन स्टैंड ऑन आवर फीट. एंड देन व्हेन द किड्स ग्रो अप, दे स्टार्ट अर्निंग देयर ओन मनी, दे कैन मूव ऑन विद देयर लाइव्स. So we've been allowed the second option. And if that's not the case, we are wealthy and the person had made genuine mistake, we can forgive as well. And there are examples of forgiveness in the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. A man brought one person to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam while his hands were tied with a rope, and he was dragging him. And he said, Ya Rasulullah, I want qisas from him. He killed my brother. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked him, did you kill his brother? He said, yes, I did. Why did you kill him? I said, because we were cutting wood and he was pestering me. He said something, so instead of hitting the axe on the wood, I hit it on his head. Prophet ﷺ said, okay, he's admitted it, take him away. So he took him away to the Jallad for qisas. And Prophet ﷺ said to someone by his side, if he kills him, then he is like him. They're both same. So the person went and whispered in his ears, the Prophet ﷺ said this. So he came back and he said, Ya Rasulullah, did you say this? He said, yes, I said it. If you kill him, then you're same. He also kills, you will be killing as well. So he said, do you want me to forgive him, let him off? He said, yes, better. Bichara, he made a mistake. He was angered. And mistakes do happen. He said, all right, Ya Rasulullah. So he himself untied the rope and let him go. And the man went dragging that rope with him. And rope in Arabic is called nas'ah. So he was named Dhun Nas'ah, the rope man. So he was pardoned. Genuine mistake it was, in a fit of an anger, rage. So Islam has kept it open. Bichara, if I kill him, he can go and look after his kids. So the ball is in the court of the relatives. If they want qisas, they can take it. Each and every relative has to agree on qisas. Even if one of the 9-10 relatives, if one pardons and don't want qisas, then the other 8 can't do anything. The qisas will be maaf. Because by just one person pardoning, and he can give it maafi on his behalf, the other 8-9 can take diyat. Or if they want to do maafi and pardon, they can do pardon as well. So Islam's rules and laws of qisas are extremely fair. And Islam didn't invent these laws. They were in Tawrat, Zabur, Injil as well. وَكَتَبْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ فِيهَا أَنَّ النَّفْسَ بِالنَّفْسِ وَالْعَيْنَ بِالْعَيْنِ وَالْأَنْفَ بِالْأَنْفِ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning the qisas masail over here. After that, Allah mentions wasiyat. Wasiyat, Allah Pak ne bayan farmai. Okay, because when a person dies, he needs to leave a will. In the beginning, leaving a will was faraz, wajib. Then, when Allah revealed in Surah An-Nisa, yusikumullahu fi awladikum, this kutiba alaykum idha hadara al-masiyya was mansukh. So it's not faraz now, but it still is desirable. And especially in COVID-19, people are going tap very quickly. So we should have our wasiyat ready, just in case, who knows, something happens. So we are ready, our wasiyat and wilnama is ready. So wasiyat masail, Allah Pak mentioned. After that, number 3 hukam Allah gave was about siyam. Kutiba alaykumus siyam. That siyam is now farz upon you, because Surah Baqarah is coming down in Medina Sharif. And siyam was made farz in the year 2 after Hijrah. Ramzan, year 2 after Hijrah, is when the hukm of siyam came. And these verses, Allah mentions some hikmat, that the hikmat, wisdom behind siyam is that you gain taqwa. The battery of your taqwa is charged. We charge our mobile battery, we need to charge our taqwa battery. And that is through good deeds. So your fasting will charge your taqwa's battery, and you will have to keep it charged throughout the year after that. Keep on charging it, recharging it. So, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. Hajj will recharge it, Salat will recharge it, Zikr will recharge it, and Amal Salihah, Zakat, Khairat, Sadqat will keep recharging it. So, Siyam is to recharge your battery of taqwa. And Allah mentions some masail regarding that. Shahru Ramadan, alladhi unzila fihi al-Quran. Allah indicates that Ramzan and Quran have a very close connection. Maybe this is why all the books of Allah were revealed in Ramzan. Tawrat, Zabur, Injil, as the Shaykh has mentioned in Fazail Ramzan, they were all sent down in the month of Ramzan. So, Ramzan and the books of Allah, Kalam of Allah, have a special connection with one another. Therefore, we have to make sure that we recite Quran Pak to the best of our ability and as much as we can throughout this month. Prophet ﷺ himself used to recite lots of Quran. He used to do door with Jibreel Amin alayhi salatu wassalam. And he would read, Jibreel would listen. Jibreel would read, he would listen. So there would be 2 khatams. One of the Prophet ﷺ and another of Jibreel Amin alayhi salam. And every day Jibreel would come. And he would be really happy because Jibreel alayhi salam's arrival would put a smile on his face. Make him happy, cheer him up. So he was really happy, and this is why he would be really generous in the month of Ramzan. And he would spend whatever he had, he would just give it out. So Ramzan and Quran both have close connection. This is why on the day of Qiyamah, 2 interceders will be very strong. One fasting, the other Quran. Fasting will say, I kept him hungry and thirsty during the day, accept my intercession. Quran will say, I kept him awake at night, accept my intercession. Both will be accepted. The person will be let off. So read Quran as much as you can throughout month of Ramzan. Then وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ. Dua. Now after this, again أُحِلَّ لَكُمْ لَيْلَةَ الصِّيَامِ الرَّفَثِ. So before Siyam and after is Siyam and in between is Dua. أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةَ الدَّاعِ إِذَا دَعَانِ. What is the indication? That in Ramzan, du'as are readily accepted by Allah. So make lots of du'as. At the time of iftar, at the time of suhoor, after all 5 namazes, and during the day, whenever you get chance. Remember Allah, do zikr of Allah, do istighfar, tawbah, read Durood Sharif, and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of du'as. Ajib, dua is ajib. Prophet ﷺ said, for whoever the door of dua is opened, then the dua of ijabat and qabuliyat and acceptance is also opened. If you get the tawfiq of making lots of du'as, then you will get the acceptance from Allah as well. And he also said, الدعاء ينفع مما نزل ومما لم ينزل. Dua benefits in those problems which have arrived and in those as well which have not yet arrived, which might be pending. Allah removes those problems. He also said, من لم يسأل الله لم يغضب عليه. Whoever doesn't ask Allah, Allah gets angry with him. That he needs it. Why is he not asking me? Why is he running around here and there? Amil, Mamil, Shamil. And Tabiz, Babiz, Balida, Ruqya, and all these. Go, leave that. Turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Pray to rakat namaz. Ask from Allah. So, this is dua masla. And then Allah mentioned some masla of i'tikaf. وَلَا تُبَاشِرُوهُنَّ وَأَنْتُمْ عَاكِفُونَ فِي الْمَسَاجِدِ. Some masail of sehri and kulu washrabu hatta yatabayyana lakum. Some masail of that. And then he went on to i'tikaf. Do i'tikaf in the masjid. And these are limits set by Allah. Do not approach these limits. Do not exceed them. Stick to the limits which Allah has set. And behave properly. Then Allah mentioned also that وَلَا تَأْكُلُوا أَمْوَالَكُمْ بَيْنَكُمْ بِالْبَاطِلِ. In Ramzan, outside Ramzan, make sure your income earnings are halal. Do not eat people's money in batil and wrong way, wrong manner. Do not take bribes. Do not unnecessarily take people to courts and then out of court settlement and charge for that. This type of behavior to eat up people's money is no good. Don't do that. Allah Pak said that behave properly and stay within limits. Then Allah mentioned, يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْأَهِلَّةِ. Hilal, Chand. People start moon wars, but we shouldn't make moon war complicated. Don't go fall into this. It's easy. Islam has kept things easy, flexible. Be flexible. Whoever wants to do whichever one, go, no problem. It's an ijtihadi mas'ala. Our Mufti Sufi Tahir Sahab said today, it's an ijtihadi mas'ala. Like Shafi and Hanfi ijtihadi ikhtilaf. So whether we can follow Saudi or we can't follow Saudi is an ijtihadi mas'ala. If your locality, your Imam Sahab, your community, your committee are following Saudi, okay. If they are following observatory, okay. Do what they are doing, do Ramzan with them, do your Eid with them. That is the easiest option. So Allah said the hilal and the crescent going in its cycle and then a birth and then growing and 14th night is full and then reducing and by the end of the month, lunar month, it's turned dark. There is no sign of the crescent moon and the whole area is dark. So the reason behind that is مواقيت للناس والحج. Time fixing for people. Because this watch and this calendar, we have it over here. But people in other countries don't have watches. And watch was invented, let's say, 100 years ago. But what about before that? And there were no watches. So if, for example, I was to give some qarz or loan to Maulana Suleiman Sahab, and the time was fixed 6 months. So Maulana Suleiman Sahab would be looking at the moon. 1 moon, 2 moon, 3 moon, 5 moon, 5 moon, 6 moon. And when the 6th moon is done, he'll come say 6 months are up. Similarly for Hajj, Allah Pak said when the Hajj month comes, Zul Hijjah will be determined by the moon. So this is why Allah turns it. People don't have to rely on calendars and dates, and not everybody is learned, not everybody has the ability to keep the dates. This is why the lunar calendar is used in the Islamic terminology. For Salat, sun is used because the sun rises and sets, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala connected Salat with the sun and Saum with the moon. So there is a hikmat and wisdom behind the hilals. Then Allah goes on to say, وَلَيْسَ الْبِرُّ بِأَنْ تَأْتُوا الْبُيُوتَ مِنْ ظُهُورِهَا, meaning do everything right. With regards to hilal and everything, come from the right channel and observe the hilal and abide by your timings which you fix with regards to your muamalat and everything. So indicating towards that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلَكِنَّ الْبِرَّ مَنِ اتَّقَى وَأْتُوا الْبُيُوتَ مِنْ أَبْوَابِهَا وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ. Go to the places through the right doors. Then Allah mentions some masail of Qital fi sabilillah. Qital fi sabilillah was not in Makkah. In Makkah for 13 years, pardon, overlook, quiet, silence, don't say anything, neglect, calm, stay calm. But then in Medina Munawwara, permission was given to retaliate, to defend, and to take up arms. So one of the first verses was in Surah Al-Hajj, أُذِنَ لِلَّذِينَ يُقَاتَلُونَ بِأَنَّهُمْ ظُلِمُوا وَإِنَّ اللَّهَ عَلَى نَصْرِهِمْ لَقَدِيرٌ. And then over here in Surah Al-Baqarah, وَقَاتِلُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ الَّذِينَ يُقَاتِلُونَكُمْ وَلَا تَعْتَدُوا. Some masail of qital fi sabilillah, defending ourselves, are mentioned, and don't exceed limits. Allah doesn't like those who exceed limits. And some masail of this type, because they have driven you out of your homes, you can drive them out of their homes and bring them out, and you can engage them in warfare. And the fitna which they are causing, coming over here to finish you, annihilate you in Badr, in Uhud, in Khandaq, this fitna is worse than just killing a single person, and trying to annihilate the Muslim community is even worse, and shirk is even worse. So Allah mentioned some masail regarding this. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala goes on to the reason for qital, حَتَّى لَا تَكُونَ فِتْنَةً وَيَكُونَ الدِّينُ لِلَّهِ, so that fitnas are eradicated and obedience is shown to Allah alone. الشهر الحرام بالشهر الحرام, some incident happened behind this. Allah goes on to that. وَأَنْفِقُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ, infaq fi sabilillah, being generous in the path of, spending in the path of Allah. We are going in the month of Ramadan, spend, be generous. And وَلَا تُلْقُوا بِأَيْدِيكُمْ إِلَى التَّهْلُكَةِ, stinginess is throwing yourself in destruction. Do not destroy yourselves. So Allah said, وَأَحْسِنُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ الْمُحْسِنِينَ, do good, Allah loves those who do good. And then Allah mentioned some masail of Hajj, وَأَتِمُّ الْحَجَّ وَالْعُمْرَةَ لِلَّهِ, go for Hajj, perfect and complete your Hajj with regards to Hajj and Umrah for the sake of Allah with ikhlas. Some masail are mentioned. Al-Hajj wa Ashhurun Ma'lumat, month of Hajj. فَإِذَا أَفَضْتُم مِّنْ عَرَفَاتٍ, go to Arafat as well, don't just stay at Muzdalifah. And then أَفِيدُوا مِنْ حَيْثُ أَفَاضَ النَّاسِ أَنْ فَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ كَذِكْرِكُمْ آبَاءَكُمْ. During Hajj, do lots of zikr and do lots of dua. Don't just say رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيا, say رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. So some masail are mentioned. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala moves on to the habit of some munafiqeen, hypocrites, who would give very good lip service, but in reality their hearts were filled with poison. And they used to try and cause fasad and mischief and destroy cattle and crops and harm the Muslim community. Allah exposes them. And Allah mentions some who have given up their lives for the sake of Allah. يَشْرِي نَفْسَهُ ابْتِغَاءَ مَرْضَاتِ اللَّهِ, they want Allah's pleasure. Allah compares both. On one side you have that hypocrite, mura'i, riyakar, and over here you have the mukhlis. And both are not equal in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, O people, do not be like the hypocrites. udkhulu fi silmi kaffa, enter Islam fully. Full. You should be practicing on Islam in full, not partial practice, fully practiced. Do not take some ahkam and practice and leave others. Some people might keep roza and fast, but they won't pray namaz. That's no good. You have to keep roza and you have to pray namaz. Some people keep roza and namaz as well, but in zakat they are lax. And some people do all these, but on the other hand, in manhiyat, they're not careful. They either, their eyes gaze at unlawful things, their ears listen to unlawful things, and they speak unlawful things, bad about others, backbiting and lying and arguing. So this is not entering Islam fully. Enter Islam fully and do not follow in the footsteps of Shaitan. If you slip up after the clear verses have come to you, then know Allah is mighty, Allah is wise. So turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Bani Israel, goes on to say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Allah. Allah is great and He has His ways of working. We have given you clear proofs. Now do not wait for Allah to come to you in the clouds or the angels to come to you and matters be decided. Just follow Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and do not show hypocrisy. And if you want your signs, then ask Bani Israel how many signs we gave them. And the signs upon signs. But those who fail to believe, then فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ شَدِيدُ الْعِقَابِ. And then زُيِّنَ لِلَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا. Why? What is the reason for hypocrisy and disbelief? The reason for hypocrisy is hayatul dunya. Falling for the worldly life. We love this worldly life so much, we forget our akhirat. We forget our akhirat. And because of this worldly life and money, people make fun of the believers. When they see the poor believers, they're going to the masjid, trying to pray, do their best. They make mockery of them, make fun of them, and say, remarks regarding them. Allah said this is the reason why they are doing this type of hypocrisy. Don't worry. Wallahu yarzuqu man yasha'u bighayri hisab. Dunya is rizq, and rizq Allah gives to whom He wills. Allah doesn't care. Dunya is dunya. Allah gives to those whom He loves, to those whom He doesn't love. So having dunya doesn't mean Allah loves you more, and not having dunya doesn't mean Allah doesn't love you. Basis of Allah's love is not on having money and wealth. It's on a'mal salihah, iman. The more a'mal salihah you do, the better for you. So this is what Allah has mentioned. Wallahu yarzuqu man yasha'u bighayri hisab. Allah mentions some masail after this. People were on one nation, one community, but they differed among themselves. Allah sent Paygambars, Nabi, for Basharat and Inzar, and they clarified things. So those who believed, Allah guided them. And Allah who guides whoever He wills to Sirat al-Mustaqim. And sometimes Allah tests as well. Do you think you're going to go in Jannah without being tested? No. Those before you were tested as well. They were shaken. Sometimes they said, Mata Nasrullah. But Allah inna Nasrullahi qareeb. When will Allah's help come? Allah's help was close. They just need a bit more patience. Be patient. Even in the time we're going through COVID-19, we don't feel good. Staying in home is like a prison. But don't worry. Don't worry. Good times are coming, inshallah. Allah will make easy for you. Seize the opportunity. Make your, like Muhammad Ali, the boxer said, don't count your days, make your days count. Don't count your days, that how many days have gone and how many days left for the next announcement. When is the government going to open things up? Don't count the days. Make your days count. Do something in your days that every day and every hour and every minute counts. And you do something good in there. You are rewarded for that day and that time and that minute. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Allah inna nasrallahi qareeb. Allah's help is close by, it's coming. Turn to Allah, seek Allah's help. You've not been shaken like those who were shaken before you, those before you were shaken. Prophet ﷺ said, sometimes a saw was brought and put on their heads, and their body was chopped into two pieces. And still, this did not turn them away from their deen. Sometimes, combs of metal were brought and put in their body, and the flesh was pulled out, and they were tortured in this manner, and still they persevered. So you have to be patient, and look at Bilal Habshi and others, how patient they were, and take lesson from there. This is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, be mukhlis and do what you need to do. And then Allah mentions some sawals, jawabat. Yas'alunaka madha yunfiqun. People ask about spending, how much should be spent. Allah said, don't ask about how much spent, ask about where should we spend. That is more important, because spending in the right place will earn you the most thawab. If you spend a lot of money but in the wrong place, you won't get any thawab. If you spend little but in the right place, you will get more thawab. The right place for spending is upon parents, relatives, orphans, poor and travelers. And whatever good you do, Allah knows it. Allah again reminds people about qital. Again and again. Preparing. Kutiba alaykumul qital wa huwa kurhun lakum. You don't like spending, you don't like going out in the path of Allah, but sometimes you don't like something, it's better for you. You like something, but it's bad for you. Allah knows and you don't know. Then some other questions. Yas'alunaka. Yas'alunaka has appeared 18 places in the Quran. And this was the first one. And the second one is Yas'alunaka anish shahril haram. People ask you about the sacred month and the warfare in it. Some masail are mentioned. Masail of murtad is mentioned over here as well. وَمَنْ يَرْتَدِدْ مِنْكُمْ عَنْ دِينِهِ فَيَمُتُ وَهُوَ كَافِرٌ فَأُولَٰئِكَ حَبِطَتْ أَعْمَالُهُم فِي الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةِ وَأُولَٰئِكَ أَصْحَابُ النَّارِ هُمْ فِيهَا خَالِدُونَ. Whoever becomes murtad and dies with kufr, then his life is gone. He will be among the dwellers of Jahannam. And he should return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and give up that irtidad and apostasy. And on the other hand, those who believe and strive in the path of Allah, migrate to protect their deen, they are the ones who are hopeful of Allah's mercy. Allah is Abdur Raheem. Then Allah mentions another Yas'alunak, third Yas'alunak. They ask you regarding intoxicants and gambling. Say there is lot of sin in there and little bit of benefit. And the sin is greater than the benefit. So when the sin is greater, then you should avoid it. Don't do it. Because the sin of wine and alcohol and intoxicants, sharab and drugs and anything that covers the mind is greater than the benefits in it. So keep that in mind, that وَإِثْمُهُمَا أَكْبَرُ مِن نَفْعِهِمَا. And avoid. In the beginning, with regards to Khamr and Maisir, 3 verses are revealed. Number 1 is this one. Allah is quiet because this is in the beginning of Madani life. In fact, 4 verses. Before this in Makkah, Allah said, وَمِن ثَمَرَاتِ النَّخِيلِ وَالْأَعْنَابِ تَتَّخِذُونَ مِنْهُ سَكَرًا وَرِزْقًا حَسَنًا. You take some intoxicants and some good juices as well. So he said, no problem, nothing. Allah didn't say anything. Over here, إِثْمُهُمَا أَكْبَرُ مِن نَفْعِهِمَا. And then in Surah Nisa, لَا تَقْرَبُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَأَنْتُمْ سُكَارَى. While you are intoxicated, don't pray namaz. So whoever wanted to drink would drink at night. And during the day, they would avoid it. So after Isha, they would drink a little bit. And then before morning, the intoxication is gone, their mind has settled. But Hazrat Umar knew that something is coming. So he used to say, Allahumma bayyin lana fil khamri bayanan shafiya. And Allah accepted Hazrat Umar's dua. And in Surah Al-Ma'idah, Allah revealed, فَاجْتَنِبُوهُ لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ إِنَّمَا الْخَمْرُ وَالْمَيْسِرُ وَالْأَنصَابُ وَالْأَزْلَامُ رِجْسٌ مِنْ عَمَلِ الشَّيْطَانِ. They are not good, impure, and they are the harkat and work of shaitan. Stay away from it. So this is regarding Khamr and Maisir. And another Yas'alunak. وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ مَاذَا يُنْفِقُونَ. We've just mentioned. Another Yas'alunak anil yatama, about orphans. Some questions about orphans. Allah mentions regarding that. Now we will have to fast forward because time is finishing. So Allah mentions some ahkam of yatim. Then Allah mentions some ahkam of nikah, muamalat. Allah goes on to some muamalat dealings. One of the most important muamala is of nikah. Nikah, wedding, marriage. Allah says, do not marry mushrikat. And mu'minat should not marry mushrikeen. And marry believers and mu'mins. Because if you marry them, then they will invite you towards Jahannam. And Allah invites you towards Jannat. So come to Jannat and obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then Allah mentions, because after nikah, you have sexual relations. So Allah mentions some masail of sexual relations. Do not approach your women when they are on menstruation, because menstruation is something that is hurtful. So you should be considerate with your wives when they are going through that difficult time of the month. So do not have sexual intercourse with them. When they are clean and menses is finished and they have washed themselves fully, then you may approach them in the manner which Allah has instructed you. And your women are your tillage. They are like your farming land. And you can go to your farmland in whichever manner you wish. Meaning sexual positions are irrelevant. In whatever manner you do it, there's no harm. Allah has allowed you but one place where there is harth, where there is something that can be produced. Not the place where no produce can come. So, Simamun Wahid, the hadith said. So one place is where you can fulfill your desire. So do that and avoid all other things. And how you do it is left to you. وَقَدِّمُوا لِأَنفُسِكُمْ. When you have your sexual relation, try and get some children. Because those children will survive for you and you will send them forth as your thawab for akhirat. Even after you die, they will make dua for you, pray for you, do some sadaqah for you. So have as many children as you can. And وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّكُمْ مُلَاقُوا بَشِّرِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. And وَلَا تَجْعَلُوا اللَّهَ. Now after mentioning this, sometimes in nikah relations, husband wives have arguments, and sometimes they say qassam as well. So Allah said, sometimes you say qassam, I'm not gonna talk to you. Qassam, I'm not gonna sleep with you. So Allah said, be careful about your qassam. Allah mentioned some masail of taking an oath and taking qassams. And then Allah mentioned some masail of ila, temporary separation. Sometimes you say that it is better we stay separated for a few weeks. You go to your mom's house and perhaps we can calm down. So this type of temporary separation is permitted, but the maximum limit of this is 4 months. If you make a qassam of separating for more than 4 months, then some masail will take place. Without any qassam or separation, if you stay for years, if you stay separate, then your nikah will not be terminated. This is when you see something that, wallah, I'm not going to touch you for 6 months, example. So that is ila. I'm not going to touch you for 1 week. That's ila. So this masla is mentioned over here. If it's less than 4 months, and you, for example, 1 month, and you don't touch her for 1 month, and then you go to her after 1 month, your qassam is not broken, you don't need to do anything. But if after 1 week you went to her and you slept with her, your qassam is broken, you'll have to give kafara of qassam. But if the period mentioned was 4 months or more, Masalan, you said, I'm not going to touch you for 6 months. Then if you were to approach between the 4 months, then you still have a chance to stay in marriage together. Because you've approached her, your marriage is intact, all you have to do is give kafara of your qasam. But if you don't, and you're stubborn, and 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months pass, she is separated from you. Now after 5 months, 6 months, you want to get back together, you can't. She is separated, she has to sit in her iddat, she has to get married somewhere else. If you want to get together again, you will have to do fresh nikah. So this is ila, temporary separations masail. And then sometimes that temporary separation leads to divorce. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions masail of divorce. وَإِنْ عَزَمُوا الطَّلَاقِ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ سَمِيعٌ عَلِيمٌ وَالْمُطَلَّقَاتِ يَتَرَبَّصْنَ بِأَنفُسِهِنَّ ثَلَاثَةَ قُرُوءٍ. Mutallaqa and divorced women will have to stay in waiting period for 3 months, 3 menstruations. And it is not allowed for women to hide what is in their stomach. Meaning if they are carrying a child or if their period has stopped, then they can't hide it. They have to reveal everything. Sometimes their period has not stopped, they've gone through menopause. But in order to get more money from husband, they say, my period has stopped, it's coming. And they drag on for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 months. So this is not right. If your period has stopped, you've gone through the menopause, you have to tell them. And if no period coming, then instead of 3 periods, the iddat is 3 months. So after 3 months, you will be separated. So these some masail are mentioned over here. Then Allah mentioned, وَلَهُنَّ مِثْلُ الَّذِي عَلَيْهِنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ, that women have rights just as they have responsibilities and duties, and everything should be done in a reasonable manner. And وَلِلرِّجَالِ عَلَيْهِنَّ دَرَجَةٌ. Men have a degree of virtue over them. A degree, little bit, not sole control, little bit virtue over them. They are the captains of the team in the house. Like a football team, and the captain is the husband. We should have football team in the house, lots of children. This is good. Shariat encourages. So in the house, the husband is the captain, and he should be allowed to make the decisions, and after consultation, listen to what they have to say, and this is what Allah Pak is saying. And then, at-talaqu marratan, talaq is twice. Meaning if you give 1 talaq now, after 5 years you give another talaq, that's 2 counted. Now if you get back together, ruju, then your 2 is gone. If you give 1 more, that's 3 and finished. Mughallaza. That's why you can't give 3 talaqs together. You cannot say, I give you talaq, talaq, talaq. Otherwise they will take effect and you will be separated for good. Now people say halalu, but halalu is not Shariat encouragement, requirement. People have made it like that. Shariat is saying that that person is foolish. He's abusing you. He gave you divorce once, he gave you divorce twice, he gave you 3 times now. He doesn't deserve you. Go and find someone else. Try and make up with him. Maybe the second person will treat you better. And he will be more courteous and more caring and more nice and gentle with you. So good if you find someone else. However, if you can't stay with the second person as well, and he divorces you, and then you want to come back to the first husband, then you would be allowed to do so. So Allah is opening a way for the woman. He's making it easy for her because she's soft, she is gentle. And if you cry a little bit, oh, I'm sorry, women are bichara soft and gentle, they will say, okay, I forgive you. So Allah knew the soft nature of women. That's why Allah said, try and find someone else. So these are some masail. In every hukm of Shariat, there is wisdom. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that you can give divorce twice, but after that, imsakum bima'ruf aw tasrihun bi ihsan. Keep her with you in reasonable manner, or let her go with kindness. Don't pester her and don't ill-treat her. Then some masail. Fast forward. فإن طلقها فلا تحل له من بعد حتى تنكح زوجا غيره. We just covered. وإذا طلقتم النساء فبلغن فامسكوهن بمعروف وإذا طلقتم فلا تعضلوهن أن ينكحن. Some other masail. And after divorce has taken place, sometime children are involved. So Allah mentioned وَالْوَالِدَاتُ يُرْضِعْنَ أَوْلَادَهُنَّ. A woman is divorced and she has a small child, infant, she is breastfeeding. So masail of child support are mentioned in this ayat. يُرْضِعْنَ أَوْلَادَهُنَّ حَوْلَيْنِ كَامِلَيْنِ. The husband, the father should support the child and the breastfeeding, and he should give the expenses for 2 full years. That's the complete time of weaning. After 2 years, weaning will take place. And the father will have to give رِزْقُهُنَّ وَكِسْوَتُهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. And if he wants someone else to feed the child and nurse and look after him, then do so, he can, and he have to pay for those expenses too. And وَإِنْ أَرَدْتُمْ أَنْ تَسْتَرْضِعُوا أَوْلَادَكُمْ. If the father dies, then the waris, the inheritor, will have to pay the mother for the expenses of looking after the child. These some masail are mentioned. You have to go to fiqh to go into detail. And then masail of iddat. If the husband dies, then the iddat is 4 months and 10 days. And then masail of proposing during iddat. If a woman is in her period and you want to propose, then you can't. You have to wait until she finishes her iddat, then you can propose. However, if you want to make some hints, then that is allowed. أَرَّضْتُمْ بِهِ مِنْ خِطْبَةِ النِّسَاءِ. That say some hints, then that is okay, but direct proposal is not allowed. And some masail with regards to this matter. Now time is finishing. Masail of iddat and giving mut'ah and some hadaya and gift to the divorced woman. Give them some gifts if you can. Be nice to them. Don't ill-treat them. مَتِّعُوهُنَّ عَلَى الْمُوسِعِ قَدَرُهُ وَعَلَى الْمُقْتِرِ قَدَرُهُ مَتَاعًا بِالْمَعْرُوفِ حَقًّا الْمُحْسِنِينَ. Masail of meher. وَقَدْ فَرَضْتُمْ لَهُنَّ فَرِيضَةً فَنِصْفُ مَا فَرَضْتُمْ. If you married a woman, you did nikah and then divorced her before touching her, then you have to give her half the meher. And if you did touch her, meaning slept with her, then you have to give the full meher. These some masail are mentioned there. And in between, Allah goes on to iddat as well. In between, hafidhu ala salawat. In all cases, whatever tough times you're going through, don't neglect your salat. Be careful about your salat. Be punctual about your salat. This is why salah is mentioned in the middle. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala goes on to sacrificing in the path of Allah. He mentions some people who left their city for fear of death, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala caused them to die and then brought them back to life. This is rare cases which Allah does against the general rule. So Allah mentions, don't run away from battle, because death and life is in the hand of Allah. Turn to Allah, obey His commands. Allah mentions, a story of previous prophets. ألم تر إلى الملأ من بني إسرائيل إذ قالوا لنبي لهم بعث لنا ملكا نقاتل في سبيل الله. Bani Israel went to fight in the path of Allah, and the Nabi was with them. The story of Talut, Jalut, and the story of Dawood alayhi salam, وَقَتَلَ دَاوُودُ جَالُوتَ, killing David and Goliath. Dawood alayhi salam killing Jalut is mentioned, and details are explained in there. وَآتَاهُ اللَّهُ الْمُلْكَ وَالْحِكْمَةِ. Dawood alayhi salam is the first prophet upon whom Nabuwwat and kingdom were both collected. Otherwise, before that, Nabi would be in one line and kingdom would be in the other line. But Allah combined both in Dawood. He was prophet and king. That's the first time that happened. So Dawood alayhi salam, who was after Musa alayhi salam and before Isa alayhi salam, in between them. And Dawood alayhi salam's son is Sulaiman alayhi salam. He was also a prophet and a king. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave Dawood alayhi salam energy, strength, confront Jalut, killed him, long story. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلَوْلَا دَفْعُ اللَّهِ النَّاسَ بَعْضَهُمْ. Oh, this is a beautiful ayah. It is Allah's habit and practice that by some people He repels others. If He didn't do that, there would be a lot of mischief on the earth. So the aim of qital fi sabilillah is to remove those who go on a killing spree and murder and who have nothing in sight but like murder, like Fir'aun and Namrud and Haman and Qarun and Hitler. So Allah removes them through some people with other, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala creates balance. This is what's mentioned there. These are verses which we recite to you in truth, and you are definitely our Rasul. And then Allah mentions Rasul. These Rusul which we send, which we mentioned before, Dawood alayhi salam and Bani Israel's Nabi, we gave excellence to some over others. With some, Allah spoke directly, Musa alayhi salam. Others, He raised their ranks, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Isa alayhi salam was given bayyinat, and he was supported with Ruhul Quds. Allah indicates towards the greatness of Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala goes on to some masail of infaq. In this surah, Allah has stressed in the coming rukus about being generous, spending in the path of Allah. It starts over here again, because before Allah said, Man dhal ladhi yuqridullah qardan hasana, who will give a goodly loan to Allah. Now Allah is saying, spend before that day comes when wealth will not benefit. So before that time comes, spend now while you are in the dunya. And then Allah mentioning this ayat goes on to Ayatul Kursi. Why should you spend? Because Allah spends. Allah is Allah. He is the one and alone. And Ayatul Kursi. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes care of the whole universe, supports, looks after, and controls everything. So His domain, kingdom, control is mentioned over here. And after that, Allah said, remember, La ikraha fid deen. Don't force anyone into deen. Coming into deen is optional. Whoever wants to come into deen, okay, option is there, open. Whoever doesn't want to, no problem. قَدْ تَبَيَّنَ الرُّشْدُ مِنَ الْغَيِّ. The guidance has become distinct and clear from error and misguidance. Now whosoever disbelieves with Taghut and believes in Allah, then he has held on to the firm hook or rope which will not snap. And Allah hears everything, knows everything. And then Allah is the guardian of those who believe. If you have iman in your heart, Allah is your guardian. Allah will protect you. Allah will look after you. Allah will take you out of darknesses and into light. And those who don't believe, their patron is Taghut, Shaitan. He drives them out of Nur and pulls them towards Zulumat. And they will be the dwellers of fire remaining there for a year. And in order to explain that spend and Allah will reward you, Allah mentions something about life after death. About Ibrahim alayhi salam and his debate with Namrud. And Rabbi alladhi yuhyi wa yumeet, qala ana uhyi wa umeet. Namrud asked Ibrahim, who's your Rabb? My Rabb is that who gives life and death. Namrud said, no, I am Rabb. He used to call himself God, and people used to prostrate to him. He said, I am God, prostrate to me. Ibrahim said, no, I'm not prostrating to you. You're not God. My God is He who creates, who gives life and death. So I can do that as well. He called for 2 prisoners, killed one, and let the other guru, look, I gave life and I gave death. So Ibrahim knew that this guy is tapped. he won't understand. So he said, okay, my Rabb is he who brings sun from the east, you bring it from the west. I can't do that. So he was gobsmacked. فَبُهِيتَ الَّذِي كَفَرْ وَاللَّهُ لَا يَهْدِي الْقَوْمَ الظَّالِمِينَ. So Allah mentions this incident. Allah mentioned the incident of Uzair alayhi salam. Allah put him to sleep for 100 years and woke him up. And he was, as he was. Allah showed him that, look, your donkey died. I'm going to bring him to life. And look at your food. It's not rotten. It's as fresh as it was yesterday. For 100 years, Allah kept that food in that manner. But the donkey died. And look, Allah will order the donkey to stand up. Allah ordered the donkey. The bones got together. Kadak, 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 kadak. And then the flesh came upon it. And the donkey is standing. Hachi, hachi, hachi. Uzair alayhi salam is amazed. Wow, subhanallah. Allah's qudrat. A'lamu anna Allah ala kulli shayin qadir. Allah can bring the dead back to life. And then Allah mentions another incident of bringing back to life. Ibrahim alayhi salam. Kill 4 birds and put them in separate hills and call them. They will come to you running. He did that and he saw with his own eyes all the body parts getting together, assembled, and ruh blown into it, and within flash the birds were coming running to him. And Allah said, "Anna Allah Azizun Hakim." Allah is powerful. Don't underestimate power of Allah. Allah will bring people to life. Millions of people in one flash. Allah will bring them, stand up, and they will come out of their graves and assemble before Allah in Maidane Hashar. So, after explaining this life after death, Allah goes on to Masalul Ladina Yunfiquna Infaq fi Sabilillah. Spend. 1 pound, Allah will give you thawab of like spending 700 pounds. If you spend with sincerity, 1 pound will be valued as 700 pounds. And Allah can multiply more than that. 7,000, 70,000, 700,000. There is no limit to Allah's, giving and His bounties and favors. So Allah mentions spend, do not be stingy. However, one thing, spend with ikhlas, sincerity, not with riyah. And another thing, don't remind favors. If you spend on someone, don't keep reminding them again and again, I did this to you. No. This is what riyah and reminding favors annihilates the thawab and the reward of your spending. So Allah mentions some of those masail. After giving some examples, Allah goes on to the next ruku. أَنْفِقُوا مِنْ طَيِّبَاتِ مَا كَسَبْتُمْ وَمِمَّا أَخْرَجْنَا لَكُمْ مِنَ الْأَرْضِ. Is to say, from your business profits, spend. And from the produce of the earth, your harvest, your fruits, spend from there as well. You have to give ushr from the harvest. There are masail of giving 1/10 of your harvest and your produce to the poor, and the 90% can be yours, 10% has to be given to the poor. This is some masail is mentioned over here of وَمِمَّا أَخْرَجْنَا لَكُم مِّنَ الْأَرْضِ. And then Allah said, remember, shaitan won't let you spend. He will threaten you with poverty, and Allah will promise you with maghfirat and fadl. Shaitan will say that be stingy, withhold your money. You'll become poor if you spend. You want to become poor? No, don't spend. Keep hold of it, you'll need it. So don't listen to shaitan. Spend. Allah will give you His fadl and grace. And Allah gives this understanding, wisdom, yu'til hikmata man yasha, to whom He wills. If you are given this ability, this understanding, this is hikmat. And Allah gives hikmat to whom He wills. And if you get hikmat, you've got khayr kasir. وَمَا يَذَّكَّرُ إِلَّا أُولَى الْأَلْبَابِ. And then, وَمَا أَنفَقْتُم مِّن نَفَقَةٍ. Whatever you spend, Allah knows it. And Allah will reward you for it. You can spend secretly, you can spend openly. Both are good. Allah will reward you for both. And Allah said that, O Prophet, it is not your duty to guide people. Allah guides whom He wills. So giving the ability to spend will also be from Allah. Ask Allah for the ability to spend. And whatever you spend will be for your own benefit. And whatever you spend should be for Allah's pleasure. And it will be repaid to you in full. And it should be spent for the fuqara who are restricted in the path of Allah. Meaning the Ashab-e Suffa. They used to stay in Medina Sharif in Masjid Nabawi. They had no house. They had no income. And they had nothing for survival. They used to just stay in Masjid Nabawi, do tasbihat, ibadat, stay in the company of the Prophet ﷺ, learn knowledge from him, and participate and impart that knowledge to others. They were very nice people. They were ulama, Sufiya, Zahideen, Ubbad. Abu Huraira was their leader. Sometimes they would be 70, other times they would rise to the amount of 300. So Allah said, spend on them. Over here, Tafsir Usmani has mentioned that, the ayat is indicating that there should be some people in the society who dedicate their lives for the service of deen. And it is the duty of the community to support them. Because if they were also to go in business and do business and job and work, then who's going to look after the deen? Who's going to learn and who's going to pass on that knowledge? So every community, it's been the habit from previous people as well. If you look at the Yahud and Nasara, they had these ascetic people, monks, and they were supported by the community. So you Muslims also should have your ulama, sulaha, mashayikh. You should support them. The whole community should spend on them. And they should not be made to go out and work as well. Otherwise, nobody will look after the Quran and Hadith and Tafsir, everything. They deserve your support. So give your zakat and your charity to the madaris, the darul ulooms, the institutes, your ulama, sulaha, mashayikh, your masajid, your local institutes. Support them, help them. This is the indication over here. لِلْفُقَرَاءِ الَّذِينَ أُحْسِرُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. They are restricted for the khidmat of deen. They deserve your support. And لَا يَسْتَطِيعُونَ ضَرْبًا فِي الْأَرْضِ. They don't know the ways of doing tijarat and business. يَحْسَبُهُمُ الْجَاهِلُ أَغْنِيَا. Jahil thinks, ignorant person thinks they are very wealthy. But they're not wealthy. They just ta'affuf, refrain from asking. And you will know them from their alamat and their signs. Meaning the piety on their face, the sujood, the nur on their face, and the hard work they do. You will realize that these are the right people. So when you recognize them, help them, support them, and give them. And لا يسألون الناس إلحافا. They don't like begging from people and going and pestering them to give them. No, they don't mention. If they mention in a good way, if you want to give. Like Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu. Once I was really hungry, Abu Hurairah says. But I couldn't beg from anyone. So I asked people some masala. That Umar, can you tell me this masala? So Umar told me that masala and left. He didn't realize that I knew the masala. I wanted him to give me some food. And then I asked someone else. And he also did something. And I was, weak and I was going to fall over. Prophet ﷺ came. He realized my condition. I said, Abu Hurairah, come. So I followed him, went to his house. And I said, is there anything to eat? And the wife said, that nothing to eat, we just have a little bit of milk. So there was a bowl of milk. So that was brought to the Prophet ﷺ. And Prophet ﷺ said, Abu Hurairah, go and call Ashabi Sufa. Abu Hurairah said, oh no, I don't want this small milk. And Ashabi Sufa go, how much am I going to get from here? But I had no choice. He said, go and call Ashabi Sufa. I went and called them. Those who were in masjid, they all came to the house of the Prophet ﷺ. And he said, Abu Hurairah, take this bowl and pass it around. And drink with Bismillah, Allah's name. And they all drank, 1, 2, 3, 4. However many were there, they all drank, until that bowl came to the Prophet ﷺ. He said, Abu Hurairah, drink. And he said, I drank, Bismillah. Drink more. I drank for a second time. Drink more. I drank for a third time. He said, drink more. I said, there's no more space in my stomach. And then the Prophet ﷺ himself drank last. So there was so much barakat in that one bowl of milk. So they would not ask anyone on face, and they would not offer anything or hint towards it. But this is لا يسألون الناس إلحافا وما تنفقوا من خير فإن الله به عليم. And then Allah said, spend by day, spend by night, spend in secrecy, spend in public, everything, Allah will reward you for it. And then Allah goes on to mention the opposite of spending. What is the opposite of spending? Charging interest. Here you are spending on people, and there you are charging interest from people. So Allah said, spending is good and taking interest from people is bad. And if you take interest from people, then on the day of Qiyamah, this person will come out of his grave like a madman, like an insane, because he used to suck the blood of people. He used to turn people, drive people mad. People would be, biting their teeth, angry at having to pay the hefty sums of interest in usury and loans and mortgages and HP purchase and all this. So they would bite their teeth, they would be turning mad. So this person will rise up from his grave like a madman, like an insane, like someone who's gone berserk due to some jinn affecting him and is mad and running around here and there, frantically screaming. This is how he will come out of the grave. لا يقومون إلا كما يقوم الذي يتخبطه الشيطان من المس. Because they used to say, innamal bayu mithlu riba. That transaction is like usury. You trade and commerce, and usury is same. I buy this pen for £1, I sell it for £10. I give you £1 and take from you £10. They both same. Allah said, these foolish people, do they not understand the difference between transaction and usury? Because they used to make such remarks. That is why Allah will punish them with Jahannam. Now, Allah said, look, I'm telling you, interest is haram. Whosoever takes this admonition and nasiha and stops, then he will get whatever he has taken in the past. That is for him. He doesn't need to return all that happened in the past. Now he has realized, so he has to move forward and give up all transactions and dealings of interest. His matter will be in the hand of Allah. Whosoever goes back to this interest-based transaction, then they will have to suffer. Remember, Allah wipes out interest and usury, and Allah increases the reward of sadaqat. Allah doesn't like every ungrateful, sinful people. And those who do have iman and do righteous deeds and establish salat, give zakat, will have their reward with their Rabb. No fear upon them, nor shall they grieve. Then Allah said, O you who believe, fear Allah and leave all that riba and sood which you've been involved in if you are believers. If you don't do that, and if you don't leave your previous interest, and you still charge people with hefty sums of interest, then listen to an announcement of war from Allah and His Rasul. You are waging a war against Allah and His Rasul. And whoever comes into the battlefield with Allah Rasul can never win. So there is a war upon this nizam of interest and usury. Do tawbah. If you do tawbah, you can have your Rasul Mal, the original punji, and la tadlimun wa la tudlamun. Don't be unjust and don't be treated unjustly. If you charge interest from people, you are zalim. You are unjust. You are an oppressor. And if you pay interest to those zalims, then you are mazloom. You are treated unjustly. So Allah said, don't be zalim, don't be mazloom. So in charging interest, it's zalim, and in paying interest is mazloom. So why be a mazloom? Why be a mazloom? Don't be a mazloom. Don't take mortgages, don't take loans out, and don't pay interest. Avoid interest. The whole interest system is flourishing because there are people ready to pay interest. If nobody was ready to pay interest, the system of interest would collapse. So Allah said, both are sinful. The taker of interest is also sinful, the paying person is also sinful. And both are cursed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah protect us from His curse. This is why Allah said, if a person is poor, then فَنَظِرَةٌ إِلَى مَيْسَرَةٍ. Give him muhlat until ease and allow him to pay later on. And if you are charitable and let him off altogether, that is better for you. If you lend £1,000 and the poor person is paying you £100, 200, 300, he paid you 700, 800, and he says, now, I'm struggling to pay. I am to pay my bills, failing to make ends meet. Please forgive me. And you say, all right, you paid 800, I give you off 200. So this is better for you rather than giving him 1,000 and taking back 2,000. So this is what is to be done. Muwasat, hamdardi, kindness, generosity should be shown. And finally, the verse comes, وَاتَّقُوا يَوْمًا تُرْجَعُونَ فِيهِ إِلَى اللَّهِ. The last and final verse to be sent down. Fear that day in which you will be returning to your Rabb, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and each person will be fully repaid for whatever they had earned, and they will not be wronged. So keep that day in mind. Every penny you paid or you earned, you will have to give hisab of it. So keep that day in mind of your standing before Allah and giving your hisab kitab. Don't charge interest, don't pay interest. Don't take interest, don't give interest. Avoid any dealings with interest. Then Allah mentions finally some ayat of mudayana, the longest ayat of the Quran, of borrowing and lending. If you borrow some money to someone, if you lend some money to someone, or you borrow from someone, you should write the transaction down. Some hidayat with regards to noting down the transactions. I'm not going to be able to go in all the details. We will go to the final ruku of Surah Baqarah. Lillahi ma fis samawati wa ma fil ard. To Allah belongs whatever is in the heavens and whatever is in the earth. Therefore, Allah can give commands however He wants. Allah is the owner of the universe. So in Surah Baqarah, you've had all these commands. Whether they are muamalat or ibadat or muasharat or nikah, talaq, these instructions are from Allah. And because Allah owns the universe, He can give the instructions. And then, وَإِن تُبْدُوا مَا فِي أَنفُسِكُمْ أَوْ تُخْفُوهُ يُحَاسِبْكُمْ بِهِ اللَّهُ. If you reveal or hide whatever is in your breasts, Allah knows it. Allah will hold you to account for it. He will forgive whom He wills, punish whom He wills. Allah is potent over everything. Meaning, Allah knows everything. Be careful about your thoughts as well. Be careful about your thoughts, otherwise they will become your words. And be careful about words, otherwise they will become your actions. And be careful about your actions, otherwise they will become your habits. And be careful about your habits, otherwise they will be your destiny. So everything starts from the thoughts. Control your mind. Avoid bad thoughts. Avoid conjecture. Avoid having bad thoughts about someone. Avoid, doing zina in your mind with someone. And fornicating, dreaming about some beautiful girl or beautiful boy. These are bad thoughts. If whatever you hide, whatever you reveal, Allah knows it. Be careful about it. This is the instruction in these final closing verses of Surah Baqarah. And then Allah said, Aman al-Rasul. There is some reason behind it, too much detail, I can't go into the tafsir. Aman al-Rasul bima unzila ilayhi min rabbil. Rasul has believed in everything Rabb revealed to him. And Rasul is the first one to believe. Rasul has to believe. He himself has to say, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. He himself had to read in at-tahiyyat, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. He had to declare his own risalat. So, Rasul has believed in whatever was revealed to him from his Rabb, and the believers have believed. And everyone believed in Allah, and in angels, and in books, and in messengers. They said, we do not cause any distinction between any of his messengers. They are all same and equal to us. We believe in every prophet, from Adam alayhi salam till the last prophet Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We do not discriminate against any of them. And they say, Sami'na wa ata'na. We have heard and we have believed. Ghufranaka. We seek your forgiveness. Rabbana, O our Rabb, wa ilayka al-masir. To you is the return. Then finally, Allah said, La yukallifullahu nafsan illa wus'aha. Allah does not burden a soul except with what is in its capacity. Allah has not told us to fly in the air like birds or to walk on the water. Allah said, no. Allah gave us instructions which we can do. 5-time prayer is no hard. Rosa once a year, 1 month a year is not hard. 2.5% of zakat is not hard. Avoiding zina, sharab, drugs is not hard. It's avoidable. It's doable. Whatever hukum Allah gave us is practical. We can practice on it. Allah has not told us to do hard things like Buddhists say. Some Buddhists say if you want to reach the peak of spirituality, you have to pour petrol over your body and sit in the middle of the road and burn yourself, torch yourself without moving. Because if you move, then you won't reach that spirituality's peak. So Allah never told us about these types of instructions. So Allah does not burden a soul except with what is in its capacity. For it is what he had earned, and upon it is what it had earned. لَهَا مَا كَسَبَتْ وَعَلَيْهَا مَا اكْتَسَبَتْ. Rabbana, O our Rabb, do not hold us to account for something we might forget or we might make mistake. O our Rabb, do not burden us with such hard things which you burden upon those before us. With Bani Israel, they had some harsh instructions. But for us, our Shariat is very easy flowing. Al-Hanifiyatu Samha. So we're making this dua. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, come to me with this dua and I will approve it. So once Allah approves it, He puts the stamp on it, say, go, I've given you. And Allah did approve it. Na'am, qad fa'altu, as in the hadith. And Rabbana wa la tuhammilna ma la taqata lana bihi. Do not burden us with that which we have no power, strength, energy. Wa'fu anna. This includes hardships, illnesses, sicknesses, bimaris. Do not give us such bimaris which we can't take. Especially towards the end of the life. And we fall on our beds and we are disabled and we can't move around. Oh Allah, protect us from this, please. La tuhammilna ma la taqata lana bihi. And keep us healthy and safe. And wa'fu anna, pardon us. Waghfir lana, forgive us. Warhamna, have mercy upon us. Anta maulana, you are our master, patron, guardian, caretaker, one who looks after us. Fansurna alal qawmil kafirin, assist us against the disbelieving people who try to attack and harm us. So, beautiful ending to Surah Baqarah from Alif Lam Mim Zalik al Kitab La Rayba Fi Hudal lil Muttaqin. This Kitab is the perfect Kitab, no doubt in its being book of Kitab of Allah, and Hudal lil Muttaqin, guidance in there for the God fearing. And then started with the first half of Surah with regards to Aqaid and clarifying many issues which the Yahud had objections upon, and rectifying their conditions, trying to cleanse them, purify them, answer them nicely in a beautiful manner. But they didn't listen, they remained stubborn. It's up to them. Then after Laysal Birra, Allah mentioned some Masail, Furu'i Masail. So first half is for Usul and Aqaid, second half is for Furu' and Masail. And this is how, Ibadat, Muamalat, from Salah, Sawm and Hajj and Qital fi Sabilillah, and then Muamalat of Nikah and Ila and Talaq and Rada'at and Iddat are mentioned. And then again Qital fi Sabilillah and spending in the path of Allah. And spending was explained, elaborated a bit, because Allah wants the Muslim community to be generous, especially in the month of Ramadan. Spend, because your Prophet used to spend in Ramadan. He was generous, following his footsteps. So this is why Allah mentioned lots of masail. And Allah warned against interest and interest-based transaction and the wisdom and hikmat behind it. Read Ma'riful Quran to understand the hikmat, wisdom behind riba and interest and sood. Mufti Taqi Usmani Sahab has explained it beautifully, so you can learn lessons from there. And finally, Allah said, Allah sees whatever is in the universe. He can guide you, instruct you. So He gave you these things for your own benefit. Trust Allah, do what He says, and avoid what He prohibits, and that will be better for you. And ask Allah's help for protection and for forgiveness, and say, wa'fu anna waghfir lana warhamna anta maulana fansurna al qawmil kafirin. May Allah give us tawfiq to understand. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. Parwardigari Alam, we thank you for all your blessings for Ramadan, for Quran, and for allowing us to read the tafsir of Quran and understand, trying to understand the meaning of the Quran. O Allah, allow us, help us to deliver the message of Quran and to absorb the message of Quran and to practice on what the Quran is trying to tell us, and make the Quran a source of removing our worries, anxieties, problems. Allah, give us tawfiq to recite it, to read it, to understand it, to practice upon it, especially in the month of Ramadan, which is Shahrul Quran. Help us in tilawat and recitation, and make everything easy for us. O Allah, accept our humble efforts, be pleased with us, give us all those good things which your beloved Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam asked from you, and protect us from all those evils from which he saw your protection. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم صلى اللهم وسلم على سيدنا محمد وآله وصحبه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.